Alright, time for Duel Links. Let's see what's going on today. New sale, that's fine. We already knew about that. Ooh, KC Cup results. That's nice that they're official. Ooh, Banlist. That's to be expected right after the KC Cup. Let's check it out. Mermaid, that's cool. Cracker Dragon and Tatsunoko. Oh, that's a shame. They went after the new Synkron build. Crosswipe, that's fine. You gotta hit this Hypers pile somehow. Transmodify. Oh, that's silly. Didn't ABC used to use that in the TCG for some kind of like shenanigans to get into Galaxy Soldier? Anyway, that'd be cool if ABC finally came to Duel Links. Scrap Iron Scarecrow, that's whatever. Void Feast, yeah, we knew the Infernoid hit was coming. Mekk Knight Purple Nightfall to 3. Ugh. I just built Mekk Knight Resonators. I just did an updated deck profile last night. What am I supposed to do? Alright, let's check it out. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make this work. That should do it. Hello everybody and welcome to Notorious Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm Notorious Glai, and today we have a post-Banlist Mekk Knight Resonator deck profile. I really wanted to do a update on the Mekk Knight Resonator deck profile because during my first go around I missed one key piece of the puzzle. We'll touch on that. I'll give you a little tease, little spoiler right now. Key piece of the puzzle is a level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro. One level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro in your extra deck allows you to turn any one Fiend monster in your hand into Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend plus Red Rain set on the field via skill. I missed it last time. Thank you to all of you who pointed that out to me in the comments or reached out to me on Discord and let me know like, yo, this is a thing you could do. You should play the 7. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you for teaching me something. Thank you for helping me learn, grow, and improve and get better. Hopefully I can do some of that for all of the rest of you here today. The next reason why I wanted to do an updated deck profile on Mekk Knight Resonators is because we recently had a ban list, and Mekk Knight Purple Nightfall was on that ban list. It was moved to a limited 3, which means it's going to conflict with Mekk Knight Blue Sky, who is also limited 3, and our limited 3 staples, being Comp Balls, Crackdown, whatever you had access to. I am here today proud to announce, maybe happy to announce, that Mekk Knight Resonators is basically unaffected by the cards put on the Forbidden and Limited list. You get to play the deck at full power, basically, or at least full power for the version that I was playing with 2 Purple Nightfall. The only thing you're losing is access to the generically powerful Limit 3 staples that we all know and love, but you can always just cut a couple cards from your deck or add in generic staples not in the Limit 3 category. Shouldn't be too difficult. I will caution you before we get into the deck profile and all that other stuff. Please be careful if you are going to go and build this deck. There is always the chance that Konami could rebalance the Roaring Source skill to lock the Mekk Knight Resonator deck out of playability. We don't know if that skill is going to come. We don't have any leaks. We don't have any information. Please use your resources wisely. The card economy in Duel Links is atrocious. It takes weeks, sometimes months of playing to just earn enough gems to get a playset of a card. Please invest wisely. Please use caution. Please only spend what you're comfortable losing out on because of an impromptu skill change. Okay, with that being said, let's go with the deck profile. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here talking about all the specific cards and every piece of text on them. I think I did a pretty good job of explaining what the cards do and kind of their role in the deck in my last deck profile. Please go check that out. The only thing I missed in my last deck profile was the level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro in the extra deck, and it's important, but we're going to address that now. And when we're doing the card by card, I think I'm just going to break these down into types of card or purpose in the deck. That way, if you don't have access to all of the shiny stuff that I do, because I've been playing for a few years now, you can find something that does a similar thing or fulfills a similar role in the deck and just find the option that you already have accessible to you. So first up is going to be the Mekk Knight engine. We have 2 copies of Purple Nightfall because it is going to be limited to 3. And that means we will have our 3 limit 3s with 1 copy of Mekk Knight Blue Sky as well. Purple is incredibly important. It is the most valuable Mekk Knight because it can get you any one of your other Mekk Knights and clear itself from the board. So you can use it to try and force interaction or bait interaction from your opponent, in addition to being able to clear the board without any interaction from your opponent, to free the way for your Red Sprinter to do what it needs to do. Next up is 1 copy of Mekk Knight Yellowstar. That's all you need. It's spot removal for smaller traps, and it's a free non-tuner body that you can put on the field. Next up is our 1 copy of Mekk Knight Blue Sky. Blue Sky can also get you other Mekk Knights if your opponent has cards in a column. Fantastic. And lastly is Mekk Knight Red Moon. Red Moon is spot removals for monsters in its own column. Please do not forget about that. It'd be a shame if somebody made a live duel video and forgot that Red Moon could only destroy monsters in its column. I wouldn't know anybody who did that. Also remember the same thing applies to Mekk Knight Yellowstar. It can only destroy spells and traps in its column. Please do not forget about the importance of columns and Mekk Knights and their effects. Let's stop and talk a little bit about the purpose of the Mekk Knights in this deck list. They do a ton of things because that's what Mekk Knights do in general, but in this list specifically, they are an advantage engine. Mekk Knight Purple Nightfall gets you any of your other Mekk Knights. Blue Sky does a very similar thing, so you get to get extra cards from your deck to your hand. In addition to that, they are big bodies with over 2000 attack, which can help clear your opponent's board and put enough damage on board to win the duel. They also offer spot removal, like I touched on, with Yellowstar being for spells and traps and Red Moon being for monsters. And if that wasn't enough for you to consider including Mekk Knights in your Resonator deck list, they also provide big non-tuner levels to your side of the board to go ahead and Synchro summon. There really is no replacement for the Mekk Knights, which is why I believe this version of Resonators is currently the strongest. They do so much and ask so little of you. I still don't think Konami hit Mekk Knights hard enough on the ban list. They are still a very splashable engine, unless there are some skill rebalancing changes coming down the road that we don't know about yet. Next up, let's talk about our Resonators. Well, our Resonator half of the deck. We have 2 copies of Red Sprinter. Red Sprinter is the thing that makes it all work. And you need 2 copies because you don't want to draw your only copy and shut off your skill, and thus the Resonator half of your deck. 1 copy of Crimson because that's all you need. You're going to be able to recycle it from your graveyard with the Red Sprinters, and you really only need to make the Resonator combo once. Hopefully after you make that Resonator combo, you are winning the duel. Needing to make it a second time and a third time means things are not going favorably, and we don't want that. We are playing 1 copy of Red Resonator just because it's a Resonator that can get a non-tuner body on the board. When it's normal summoned, it can special summon a level 4 lower monster from your hand, which means it can also special summon another Resonator if you need extra tuners to do something, or if you need a different level tuner and another body on the board for whatever reason. On special summon, it also has the ability to target 1 monster on the field and gain life points equal to its attack, which is fantastic for helping you stick around later in the duel, and also opens up your possibilities for tech options. Next up are the level 1 Resonators, Synkron Resonator and Mirror Resonator. These are the Resonators that make this build work. Being level 1 is very crucial because it allows you to turn any one fiend in your hand into Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend plus Red Rain set on the field via skill. I will show you that combo because it's really good and it's one of the main reasons to play this deck. So don't worry, we're going to get to that, but first I want to get through the deck profile. Synkron Resonator is fantastic, it's important. It can special summon itself to your side of the field if there's a Synchro monster on the field. It doesn't have to be your Synchro monster, just has to be a Synchro monster. Also, when it is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target a Resonator in your graveyard, other than Synkron, and add it back to your hand. This is the little dude that is going to let you set up your field and your hand for the 1 fiend type monster in the hand, Red Rain, full combo setup, however you want to call it or address it. Next up is Mirror Resonator. Mirror Resonator is here because it's a level 1, and it's a non-synchro Resonator that you can go ahead and recycle back to your hand for your skill. We're playing 2 copies of Synkron and 2 copies of Mirror because you do not want to have to send 1 from your hand to the graveyard to activate your skill, because that means you can't go 1 fiend into Starlight plus Red Rain. Mirror also has the ability to special summon itself to the side of the field if you do not control a monster special summon from the extra deck, but your opponent does. It comes up sometimes. If your opponent is able to clear through your board, it's always nice to be able to get the level 1 tuner back on board, and hopefully you can make something happen with the Mekk Knights or whatever other monsters you had remaining. Next up are our utility fiends. We have 3 copies of Archfiend Eccentric and 1 copy of Santa Claus. Archfiend Eccentric is extra back row removal, spot monster removal, and it's a pen scale, which means you can go ahead and set it in the pen scale zone and use it to help create a column for your Mekk Knights. Archfiend Eccentric is so good in general and extra good in this list particularly because of all the things I just mentioned. If you don't have access to Archfiend Eccentric, that is okay. I do not believe it's mandatory to play this version of the deck. It just helps so much and offers a lot of upside and versatility. If you don't have Eccentric, just consider playing a 21 card list instead, or replace it with other back row removal or staples, whatever you have access to. Next up is Santa Claus. Santa Claus is here for spot monster removal. Santa Claus does the same job essentially as Book of Moon by turning off one of your opponent's monsters. Book of Moon does it by flipping it face down. Santa Claus does it by tributing it off. But either way, they're accomplishing the same task. I really wanted to play Santa Claus because it's a fantastic go second card, and it's a fiend, so worst case scenario, 1 fiend equals Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend plus Red Rain. No worries. If you don't have access to Santa Claus, but you have access to like Radiant does the same thing. It's a fiend type Kaiju. If you don't have access to either of those, a third Book of Moon does the job just as well. If you don't have access to Book of Moon, Murmur of the Forest is a really bad replacement, but it is free to play. And let's move on to our tech staples, utility cards, whatever you want to call them. 2 copies of Book of Moon. I might bump this up just to soften the blow of losing 2 compulse, but I'm not quite sure yet. I might also add in something like Forbidden Chalice, or maybe even another generically good trap just to help add some upside and lethality and versatility to my turn 1 end board. Next up is 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic Cyclone is the best because it banishes spells. There are lots of spells and traps you would really like to get rid of and banish, so they cannot use their graveyard effect or be recycled from the graveyard, like Red Rain or any of the Phantom Knight spell or traps, just to name a few. If you don't have access to Cosmic Cyclone, MST works. If you don't have access to MST, Galaxy Cyclone works. If you don't have access to Galaxy Cyclone, Spiritualism is a free-to-play option. Go ahead and rock out with that. Next up is another free-to-play friendly card, which is Enemy Controller. Enemy Controller is fantastic, a lot of versatility, can help you protect your little monsters on board from being run over. Can also let you steal one of your opponent's monsters to do whatever it is you need to do with it. It's also fantastic in this list if you can pair it up with a Synkron Resonator, because when Synkron is sent from field to graveyard, you can recycle a Resonator back to your hand. Always good to get value off of disrupting your opponent. And our last card is Red Rain, the win condition itself. It is searchable at high skills, so you really only need the 1 copy. Playing 2 could be fun. I might end up toying around with that since we lost access to Compulse, as I mentioned. But we'll see. I might just run the 24 card list and be okay with that. Let's move on to the extra deck and then we'll get to the combo. So I'm playing 1 copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, 2 copies of Red Rising Dragon, 1 copy of Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, 1 Ravenous Cracker Dragon, the new limit 1 card, which now that I'm thinking about it, we cannot play this, and Enemy Controller. So I think we're going to go ahead and drop the Cracker Dragon. And we will add back in a Dark Dragon Synchro by the name of Dark End Dragon. So we have 1 copy of Dark End Dragon, pretend it was there the entire time. And lastly, Exploder Dragon Wing. The couple of Flexots in this deck are going to be Hot Red Dragon Archfiend or Dark End Dragon. They're not mandatory to play. Dark End is just fantastic because it sends cards from the field to the graveyard. Hot Red is there because it's a generic removal monster that doesn't care about attack values or targeting. So sometimes your opponent will be able to stick a monster that is bigger than Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend on the board, and you'll need to clear it. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend is the way to do that. The card you should be playing in this deck, but I'm not because I don't have access to it at the moment, is Buster Dragon. Buster Dragon is a generic level 8 Dark Dragon Synchro. Fantastic, we love those. It also turns all of your opponent's monsters to Dragon type monsters, which can floodgate certain decks out of being able to play at all. I know a deck that loves to have Fiend type tuners on the field. Using Buster Dragon in that matchup would really hurt them. It's us, it's Resonators. Red Rising Dragon requires a Fiend type tuner. You can use this in the mirror match to floodgate your opponent out of being able to play at all. When I do get access to Buster Dragon, I will be taking it in, and I probably will take out the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, just because I have mass non-targeting destruction removal in Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. But until then, I'm just going to vary the toolbox, vary the removal a little bit, and rock with Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. The last card I really want to highlight and focus is Exploder Dragon Wing. This could also be Ancient Pixie Dragon because they are both level 7 Dark Dragon Synchros, so they work with Red Rising's effect and Crimson Resonator's effect. And Pixie Dragon is probably better because it is generic, which means you don't need to have a non-tuner dragon type monster on the field. But most of the time when you're going to be summoning your level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro, it's going to be off of your main line Resonator combo, which is going to be Red Rising Dragon plus a level 1 Resonator. So you're covered on the non-tuner dragon type. It would be nice to have full access to your extra deck at all times, just in case Ancient Pixie Dragon's effect suddenly became relevant, but those scenarios are few and far between, so don't worry about it if you don't have access to it. Exploder Dragon Wing works just as well. That's going to do it for the deck profile. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Please let me know if you're excited that Mekk Knight Resonators survived the ban list, or if you're disappointed that they survived the ban list. Either way, let's do the combo and we'll move on from there. Alright, we're here and we're going to beat up on Wild Dan. And that is a hand of all time. Fortunately, we're playing against an NPC because I really wanted to just showcase the combo uninterrupted and be able to stop and talk as much as I needed to at any given moment. So all we need is one Fiend type monster in the hand. I'm going to show you why we play 2 Synkron Resonator. That way you really get the idea and the importance behind playing 2 copies of Synkron and Mirror, because they are very vital for the combo. So first we're going to activate our skill. We're going to pretend the 3 Archfiend Eccentric don't exist. We're going to send the Synkron Resonator from our hands to the graveyard to send Crimson Resonator from our deck to the graveyard. We're going to add Red Sprinter from our deck to our hand, and we're going to normal summon Red Sprinter. We're going to use Red Sprinter's effect to special summon a Resonator from hand or graveyard. It is important to remember that Red Sprinter does not target the Resonator it wants to summon. So if your opponent manages to use a DD Crow on the Resonator you have in the graveyard, it's okay if you have a Resonator in hand, you can still be able to special summon them. So we're going to go ahead and special summon Crimson Resonator. Synchro summon for Red Rising Dragon because we control a Fiend type tuner and a level 4 non-tuner. And we're going to special summon Red Rising Dragon in the extra monster zone. Red Rising Dragon is going to use its effect, targeting Crimson Resonator. Very important that Red Rising targets the Resonator. I always like to special summon Crimson Resonator to the middle zone, just in case something goes wrong. I still have a monster in the extra monster zone and something I can set in the spell trap zone to free the way for any Mekk Knights that I may have opened. So we're going to go ahead and use Crimson Resonator's effect to special summon 1 Synkron Resonator, 1 Mirror Resonator, and those are going to go underneath the extra monster zone. It doesn't matter which one. The only thing you'll need to be careful of is clogging your zones here. This is also a very vulnerable disruption point for your opponent. If they see all your main monster zones full and your extra monster zone full, there's really no way for you to clear your zones if they flip the monster in the extra monster zone down. So we're going to go ahead and Synchro summon now for a level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro. Mine of choice is going to be Exploder Dragon Wing. And it is very important to use the Mirror Resonator and the Red Rising Dragon, because we need to put a Resonator target in graveyard for Synkron Resonator's effect. We're going to go ahead and use our level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro and the Synkron Resonator for Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. And now that we have Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend on field and Synkron Resonator's effect to bring a Resonator monster back to our hand, we have Fiend type monster in hand, Fiend type monster on field, and Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend faced up on our field. And Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend counts as Red Dragon Archfiend, so it works with our skill. So we're going to go ahead and activate the skill. We're going to trade in the Resonator we added back to our hand and the Resonator left over on the field to set Red Rain. I always like to set my Red Rain in the column with the extra monster zone that my Synchro monster is in. That way, if I have any Mekk Knights in hand, they are instantly online. This is the reason why the Mekk Knights and the Resonators work so well together. It's because any one Fiend can get you a column set up on your first turn, and that's the combo, everybody. Any one Fiend type monster in your hand becomes Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend plus Red Rain plus 3 cards left in your hand. So if you don't open 3 Archfiend Eccentric, you are going to be in great shape. Alright everybody, and that's the deck profile. That's the combo tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all are enjoying Mekk Knight Resonators, or at least playing against it. I know the Mekk Knights can be a little annoying to play against, and seeing them populate so many of the most powerful decks over the last few weeks, months, formats has been a little frustrating. But one thing I am really enjoying about this list, and one thing I have thoroughly enjoyed, is seeing Mekk Knights used for non-floodgate shenanigans. The Mekk Knights in this list aren't trying to set up a one-sided skill drain. They're not trying to Ibly lock you. They are there to just capitalize on the fact that they can generate advantage help push for damage, and be Synchro material. Occasionally, one of those Synchros will be Buster Dragon and will floodgate your opponent out of playing the game. But that's beside the point, everybody. That's beside the point. You don't have to use the Mekk Knights for Buster Lock shenanigans, but the option's always there. I've been thoroughly enjoying the list without doing that, and I think I'm going to continue enjoying it. I really hope this deck list, this version of this deck, stays playable for a very long time. It has been thoroughly enjoyable to see Resonators played in a whole new way, and to see different Resonators get their share of the spotlight. The Mekk Knights have added a layer of variety and depth and thoughtfulness to playing Resonators, and that's something I wouldn't trade for the world. Hopefully my closing argument, statement, plea to all of you isn't falling on deaf ears, and hopefully you can forgive the Mekk Knights for their past crimes of Ibly locking you and skill draining you out of playing the game, and give them a try in red raining you out of the game. I'm only kidding, everybody. Alright, everybody, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Be safe, have fun, everybody.